Okay, let's try this again. Hopefully it works, and it sounds like it might be working. I'm just gonna take my earpiece out now, but I think we are good. So let me know in the comments down below if it is working. I believe it is. I'm going to kind of do this here. Let's see. Oh, and I think there's an echo. Let me turn that off. No, that's not where I wanted to go. Okay, should be good. All right. Don't know what that was about. I had to correct a couple settings, but it looks like we're good to go. Anyway, so let me kind of redo my whole intro here to this because, yeah, the other one didn't do too well. So pretty much we have the Aquatic Experience coming up this weekend. We're vending there. We have a booth, much like we did at Reefapalooza. We did a video on this about, you know, Aquatic Experience and why you should come. So hopefully you're coming. If not, maybe next year. It should be in the same spot. Next year. So I just have a lot going on because I'm just trying to get back to the stream right now. Okay, here we go. Because we have to do these tanks here, and you know, I just got done doing this one before we came on here. So this tank is pretty much done. I just have to clean up the glass a little bit. It has a little green spot algae growing on it, nothing crazy. This tank over here, I kind of have to rework it a little bit. Things didn't quite fill in the way I wanted them to, so I just need to really make sure that this one looks good, because this one is actually going to a different booth, not our booth. So it's going to be at one of our suppliers. Actually, we'll be having this tank there because they asked if I could supply them with a show tank, so we're going to let them use that one. Then we're going to have this one, and another little surprise at our booth. And this one definitely not looking good, and my only other option is to take the long tank, and I really don't feel like trucking the long tank, so I'm hoping that I could get this one looking good. And this one I gotta do a lot of work on too tonight, but I hope that everything should work out well. So if you're not coming to the Aquatic Experience, I'm gonna try and film, if it's anything like Reefapalooza, which I have a feeling it's gonna be like Reefapalooza but on steroids. I probably won't have that much time to film, so it's going to be really tough. It is going to be a lot of fun, though, and I hope those that are coming out look forward to it. Sorry, I'm just checking some things. Okay. Yeah, so finally made it to the live stream. Took me long enough. Well, welcome, B. Mouty. Skylar says, how are you? I'm good. I'm good. A little stressed, behind in a lot of things, just trying to get everything ready for the show, making sure I'm not forgetting anything, making sure that I have everything on order that I need. It's difficult coordinating this, especially when you're kind of like, you know, we have Jake and you know, and he helps out with things, but kind of the booth is like all on me. I have to make sure that you know, that everything's in order, so it's difficult. And it's a lot of work for a one-man show to kind of put together. Dan asks, do you have, or I guess 2 booths? No, we're only doing one booth. I wanted to get 2 booths, and when I reached out to the people who run Aquatic Experience, I'm like, what do I have to do to get a second booth? They never wrote back to me, so I'm like, all right, I guess I'm stuck with just one. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. If you did see us at Reefapalooza, we brought more tanks with us then than we are now. But we're gonna have, so here's the thing. We are getting, we're getting in some plants that we don't normally have. They may be similar species or same species that we normally have. However, we're getting really ginormous plants, like plants that are like this big, just massive quantities of huge plants. And I think those will do really well because one thing at Reefapalooza I noticed a lot of people, we had some large swords and those went like that. Like the moment we laid them out on the table, they were gone within 5-10 minutes. Put another one out, gone. So I'm hoping it's going to be the same case. And now that I know that, you know, about Reefapalooza, I'm imagining it's going to be similar for Aquatic Experience. So I really hope if you have a large tank and you're attending that you look forward to that, because they're going to be, you know, and it's like massive plants that I can't normally ship, because if I was to ship them, I'd have to charge like $50 or $60 between shipping and the cost of the plant, and you know, to make sure it arrives in decent shape, because that's how big these things are. So it's not something that we can normally stock, and I'm hoping all the large ones go, because to bring them back here is going to be a nightmare because I don't have any room for them. So I'm hoping that people really go for them, and they do really well. David says, I wish I could go. I wish you could go too. Robert says, where is it going to be? So it's at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday, I think, is 11 to 6. Saturday is 10 to 6. And Sunday is 10 to 4. So make sure you come out if you're within the tri-state area. And excuse me one second. So I got asked by a company today. One second. Okay, so I got I had a company contact me today. It's a very last minute, but hopefully we can make it work. So they got contacted by another bigger name company to do a show tank, and they decided not to do. Oh, maybe he does have stuff. So they contacted this other company to do a show tank for them, and they're a larger known company, and you know, they said no problem, but they specialize in saltwater. They're expanding into freshwater setups, but they primarily do saltwater setups and maintenance and that kind of stuff. And from what I gather, they're expanding, which is really exciting. They actually they're about an hour south from where I live, and they're right across the street from a huge aquarium that went out of business, a aquarium store. Just a huge one. If anybody knows of Troppa Aquarium in New Jersey, they went out of business, I think, earlier this year. For whatever reason, they closed the doors. And this guy is right across the street. And, you know, so, you know, whatever the case is. And so he's like, hey, you know, can I get some plants from you? You know, whatever. And I'm like, well, it's kind of short notice. You know, but I think I can make it happen. I have some things that are in the tanks that haven't been sold in a while, or haven't sold. I have like, my plan is I have a bunch of crypts that haven't been sold in a while. So they're all fully converted. They're like, it's not like 3 leaves. They have like 8 to 10 leaves each. So they're really like massive crypts. And for some reason they just haven't sold. I guess maybe it's just the type, or people's not familiar with them, or whatever the case is. Maybe I have them priced too high, or whatever it is. I'm not sure, but they've been sitting in there for months, and my only idea that I came up with, because it's a 55-gallon tanks, and 55-gallon tanks just really suck for aquascaping in general. Well, I've had one for years now. It's beyond difficult to aquascape and to make it look nice. So we're gonna probably use those crypts that are really grown out and do something nice with those. I have a couple other plants that came from the 55 that we broke down recently. Hopefully that'll work out. And then they actually have a second tank that they want to do, another cube tank similar to this guy. This is a 16 by 16, I think, and their cube is 2 foot by 2 foot, so very similar, a little bit bigger. And I think we should be good. So yeah, so that's kind of like last minute stress added on to everything on top of making sure all of our stuff gets there, is to also assist this company in setting up these planted tanks. And because our name is also going to be on these tanks, you know, we want to make sure it's set up right, make sure it looks good. So it's definitely a challenge all itself. But that's why, like, this one is, like I said, this one's going to one of our suppliers, because I had these tanks set up specifically for this event, well, these events, and that, you know, they're easily transportable for the most part. And you know, if other companies out there wanted to essentially rent or lease or whatever, or even buy them, they have that option. But yeah, so that's that. We'll go back into the comments here. Bought some plants from you 5 days ago. They are doing much better now and super bright green. Yeah, so when you get plants in, no matter where you get them from, you keep in mind that just like a fish, they're probably going to be stressed. They've been in a box for, you know, anywhere between 2 and 4 days, depending on when you get it. And it just takes time for them to bounce back. Plants do take a while to grow in, but once they get established and they are adjusted to their new environment, they really take off. And they should do really well. That good man, I have 18 tanks going on, or I want to go bigger. Wow, that's a lot of tanks. I mean, I think we're at like almost 30 tanks, so yeah, 18 tanks. I don't know how you do it by yourself, because I have a hard time keeping up with just these 5 here. 5 or 6? 6, I guess. This one's still being blacked out. Is AE just like Aquashella? So I didn't go to Aquashella, so I don't know the extent of it. I've seen some videos. A lot of art I saw was combined with that. I think, being that I've never attended Aquashella, I'm just going to simply speculate from what I've seen in videos, but Aquashella seems more of an artistic show, and I know there was vendors there. I'm sure, you know, people were selling things and whatnot. I didn't really see too much in that, but AE is more about just having fun. There's competitions. There's aquascaping competitions for both boys and adults and children, boys and girls, whatever. There's shrimp competitions. There's fish competitions. There's raffles. There's what else is there? There's just tons of vendors, and all the big names are there. I don't, you know, I only know a few select people that actually attended Aquashella, so I don't know, you know, if any big names attended like Fluval or anything like that, but they will also be there as well. If you want to see more about AE, though, you can go to my previous video that said, I think it's, if you love fish tanks, you must go. Let me double check. What did it say? Love aquariums, question mark, you must go. Yeah, that was a video we did a couple weeks ago, and it kind of showcased a little bit to what, you know, what to expect. But this year is the first year that they're holding it in New Jersey / New York area. Last year was in Chicago. I attended that. It was a lot of fun, but this time it's right in my backyard, considering we're about 15 minutes from the convention center, which is awesome for me. You know, it's gonna, being that it's the first time here, it's gonna be a lot different than Chicago. This is New York City. You know, there's nothing else like it. So, I am expecting it to be massive, just because it's New York City. Like, you have all 5 boroughs of the city. You have most of New Jersey, northern New Jersey, central New Jersey that is going to be coming out. You're going to have people from PA, Connecticut. So you're going to have all these people coming to there, where Chicago is, well, you know, Chicago is another big hub. It's just not like New York City. There is nothing else like New York City. So Meadowlands is literally right outside the city itself, and I think the attendance is going to be huge. I think all the vendors are going to have to really be on point, because it's not, like, you can't play games in New York, because if you come and you don't bring the A game, you know, people are not going to be happy about it. So you really have to, you know, the vendors are going to have to make sure they're bringing some interesting things to their booth and all that. So it's going to be really cool. And the fact that Reefapalooza is mostly saltwater people there, while there was freshwater people that bought plants and whatnot from us, Aquatic Experience is going to encompass everybody. So freshwater, saltwater, people that are into reptiles, because there's going to be reptiles there. Aquascaping fanatics, shrimp fanatics. So you're going to have all these specialized people, and it's going to be a mixture of everything. And I have a feeling it's going to be massive. I have a feeling I'm going to want to sleep for 3 days afterwards, because it's going to be that chaotic. But I have high expectations for it. And then I hope I don't talk it up too much and you get there and you're like, this is it? This is what you're talking about? But yeah, so if you're in the tri-state area, I definitely recommend at least come out for a day. 3 days, I don't know. See, Reefapalooza this past year was at the same convention center, and it was only half of the convention center. Aquatic Experience is taking up the whole convention center. So I'm thinking that there's going to be a lot to see, but with that also you have all these contests going on which take up, I would say, at least a fourth of the overall space. So maybe it's only about 25% larger rather than 50% larger from that standpoint of like what else is there going to be. But you also have events. You're going to have tons of YouTubers are going out also. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I know I'm like, just talking about AE, but I mean, it's what's on my mind right now. I got tons of stuff to still get done. Tomorrow I got to go get the van because at Reefapalooza we decided to do a trailer. I think that's one of the reasons why this broke. So we're going to do a van this time. We're going to load everything into the van. Hopefully nothing breaks this time around. I'm also going to make sure I take out any loose rocks from inside the tanks and secure, take them out and put them somewhere else during transport. Hopefully that'll work. And yeah, we'll see what happens. What's up, Jasmine? Jesse says, I'll see you there. Nice. Jesse, looking forward to it. Dave says, I have 3 crypt flamingos. Love them. I'm guessing you got the tissue cultures. If I do remember, I believe you did. The tissue cultures came out phenomenal. I still have, I don't know if you saw my most recent video. I think, yeah, my most recent video on the $1,000 in aquarium plants. But I have because I opened up a pack of the crypt flamingos for myself, obviously. And we put those in the 75, and they're literally just exploding with new growth, which is really good. Like there's one that melted all the way back. It had no leaves, and it already has 6 new leaves. I mean, granted, they're like this big, but over time, they're just gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger. So the crypt flamingo's really good buy. I brought in 30 more tissue cultures of them this past week. One for AE, I assume that a lot of people are going to want to buy them at Aquatic Experience, and B for the website, because we had ordered, I believe, 10 the couple weeks before that, and they sold out within 2 or 3 hours of me putting them on the website, so they went insanely fast. And also the manufacturer of that product is about a month behind in production because they didn't realize how many people want that dang plant. So Madfish Diva says, I have them too. They look amazing. Yeah, the pink flamingos are going to be really good. Here's the thing, though. So when a plant like that, when pink flamingo is so sought after because nobody really has it, people aren't growing it commercially, and really the only way to get it right now commercially is tissue culture. So you're going to get like tons of people are going to buy these tissue cultures, and they're going to start growing them out. The problem with this plant, though, is it grows so slowly. So it's not going to be one of those plants that I think instantly floods the market after everybody gets their tissue cultures. I think it's still going to take some time for, because their plants are small. They're not massive, they're tissue cultures. So they're about yay big, maybe an inch or two big. But over time, they'll get bigger. But I've had that crypt flamingo in the 55 for maybe, I want to say almost a year probably. And it grew from like this big to being like this big. So, and I didn't get any babies out of it yet. So, it's going to be one of those plants, I think, if somebody is able to get plantlets out of it and has like a substantial amount of it or a good amount of it, it's actually pretty big, I think they'll be able to still sell it for pretty much what it's going for, just because it's such a super slow grower. It's not like a stem plant or anything like that. And crypts are just incredibly slow to propagate unless you grow it immersed, and then I think you could harvest the seeds if you somehow manage to do that and pollinated and all that stuff, and you get some seeds and grow them up from seeds. You may have a little crypt flamingo empire on your hands. I want all those tanks in the background. Well, thank you. You even want this one? Because this one needs CPR to bring it back to life. I haven't even thought. Well, I have my idea for this tank. It's going to be completely different from anything that I've done. Oh, that reminds me. I need to get this thing for this tank. I can't forget it. Anyway, this tank is going to be like nothing else that I've done yet. I need to do a couple things. For one, I need to get something that raises these lights up, because what I'm going to do is something that's going to come up out of the tank and going to look really cool. But if it doesn't work out, I may switch the light then from this light to a different light, which would suck because this light was like $200 and it would be cool to use it. But if I can't do it, then I'll use a different light. I'll probably use like one of these pendant lights to put on top of this one. So AE is a giant fish pimp convention, pretty much. I mean, you're going to have, you know, plant enthusiasts, you're going to have saltwater enthusiasts, you're going to have coral enthusiasts. There's going to be tons of people that are in their own little genre in the hobby that are excited to be there. And, you know, you talk to people. If you come, talk to other people, you know, when you're rubbing shoulder to shoulder, checking out stuff. See what they keep and all that, because I mean there's going to be people there with tons of knowledge, much more than myself, I'm sure. Jasmine says, how are your carnivorous plants doing? They're actually doing really well. They require zero work whatsoever. I'll take some water. I'll just water them from, I actually take the Blue Bolt tank that I have next to it. I take a turkey baster, fill that up with water, and then just drench the bowl where the carnivorous plants are, and that's it. And that's all I've done. They've been doing really, really well. Let's see. I love them because I run no CO2 mid-light, and they are a great pink color. Yeah. The pink flamingos, some people say they don't, they'll turn green under like low light. I personally haven't tested this. But I can deem it possible. I think, though, that the species isn't necessarily one of those plants that turn red under highlight, because there's two types of red plants. There's plants that are naturally red color, or naturally that, like, you know, bronzy, pinkish, reddish color, like, naturally, and then then there are the plants that you can get to turn red by having a lot of light and CO2. I haven't tested to see if pink flamingo goes either way, so... Madfish Diva says, I'm guarding them with my life. Yeah, I would guard them with my life too, because they are beautiful plants. I also got in Barclaya longifolia, which is probably more rare in my opinion than crypt flamingo. We got in 10 of those. I took one for myself, so that put us down to 9, and we sold 8 of them. And they are a beautiful pink color, beautiful reddish pink, purplish almost. I can't wait for them to grow in, because I've been looking for those probably longer than I was wanting the crypt flamingo. I think I saw maybe in a video from somebody at one point, or when I was just researching plants and I came across it, and then every single time I try and get it from a supplier, either they're out or they're discontinued carrying that plant, or whatever the case is, and it just bums me every single time. So I'm so glad that I managed to get in the tissue cultures of those. The 3 I took, I actually put them in my tank last night. They were sitting in the tissue culture for the last week, so hopefully they do it right. But yeah, the Barclayas, beautiful, beautiful red plant. And the thing about those is supposedly they grow really, really quickly. So, and they're a bulb type plant, even though the tissue cultures don't have the bulbs. I think the bulbs will form over time in the tank. I mean, this plant is still new to me. I haven't done a ton of research on it, but I think it'll probably grow a bulb once it gets to that season. It'll grow the bulb, and then hopefully from that bulb I could get sprouts and start propagating it. So that's what I hope happens. Jasmine says she accidentally killed all her carnivorous plants. That sucks. Which ones did you have? Did you show me? I don't remember. Madfish Diva's using a T5 Flora on her Crypt Pink Flamingos. That'll work. T5s are, I mean, unless you have a really powerful LED on or a small tank with an LED, you're really in like having a T5 on a bigger tank is much better cost wise. I have this video, I mentioned it I think in a previous live stream. I'm working on for lighting. It's a very long and tedious process to figure out. Let's see. I had mine under low light and never turned green, just a lighter pink. Well, that's good. Sorry, I'm trying to coordinate getting fish for this setup. Let's see, is Crypt Parva a good carpeting plant? Yes and no. If you have a tremendous amount of money and you want to buy a really slow growing carpeting plant just because you don't want to have to get in there and trim every day or every couple days, yes, it's a good carpeting plant. If you have a really small tank, also a really good carpeting plant because you don't need as many. But with Crypt Flamingos, Crypt Parvas, it will take a very long time for them to actually carpet. So you do want to start off with more than you think you need, and you need to have patience. If you don't have patience, do not get it. Or don't get it as a carpeting plant. You could use it as an accent plant, put it in like corners of rocks and the tank and all that, and create a nice little, you know, bush out of them. But definitely don't buy them if you're not patient. I use LED floodlights. LED floodlights work pretty good. Although the one that I have in the living room on the big giant Dragonstone tank kind of is dying out on me. Then again, it's been, when did I get that? Last year. It's been a year. So, I don't know. I bought a Venus flytrap at the grocery store a few weeks ago and I already killed it. Also, I've fallen in love with my new Galaxy Res Borers. Galaxy Res Borers are awesome. Those are Celeste Pearl Danios as well. Right? Or are those... I think there's two in the same fish or whatever. Venus flytrap. So you might not have killed it because if you just bought it a few weeks ago, it's probably going through its dormancy period. Venus flytraps, much like pitcher plants, this time of year are going through dormancy. So their traps are going to fall off and or start to wilt back. And what you want to do is you actually want to take that plant and put it somewhere that's black. Is that normal? I'm trying to remember if it's black or brown the leaves turn. I haven't had one full season. I've done enough research to know how the plant works. But oh, which reminds me, I got plants here that I need to mist because they're plants that I'm using and they're out of water right now. Yeah, shoot me a picture, Jasmine, because I believe that I believe they're fine. Venus flytraps go through that seasonal period where they're gonna go dormant. So you should actually take them, and if you have like a garage that doesn't get like too cold, actually you could probably, well, where are you? You're up north, right? It might be too cold in your area. If you were local to us, you could actually overwinter them outside, and they'd be fine. But yeah. And now I'm starting to get tired because I was up at 4:45 this morning, which is way earlier than I normally wake up. Massachusetts, yeah. So you're a bit more north. So you may not be able to overwinter them outside, but if you have a garage that doesn't get like too cold, you'd probably be alright there. So, let's see, what else? Besides tanks, I gotta do the tanks, I gotta get the van. Were you setting up today? No, we didn't set up today. I will, we're going to be setting up tomorrow. We're pretty much planning to pack up around 1. I figured it'll probably take us about an hour to pack everything up because in the morning, I took off work this time because Reefapalooza, I didn't take off work. I thought, oh, I'll get home around like 4. I left early from work that day. I figured, oh, I'll get home around 4. You know, we have till 8 to set up. No, it took. We literally got there at like 7:15, and we had 45 minutes to set up the booth for the next morning. It was just freaking chaos. So I was like, I'm not doing this again. I'm taking off work. I don't care if I miss a day, and I'm doing it the right way. So I'm planning on waking up early tomorrow, like 8. I'm going to start draining all the tanks, saran wrapping them, prepping everything. Then by 1 o'clock, go get the U-Haul. Jake will be here. We'll start loading everything. We should be out of here by like 2:30 the latest. We'll be at the convention by... it's about a 20-minute drive. I'm going to drive a little bit slower, so let's just figure a half hour. So that'll put us at 3. Then we have 3 to 8 to set up. Our booth should only take maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours to set up, which then leaves me time to do the tanks for the other people. So, do you think Trident Fern will be sold at the expo? I will be having Trident Fern. We actually ordered large Trident Ferns. They'll probably be like yay big. So they're going to be really massive. And yeah, so we'll have Trident Fern. We're only, I think, getting like 15 of them. So for Reefapalooza, I ordered something like 1,000 plants, and that was a bit overkill because we probably had like 300 to 400 plants that we brought home with us. Some, you know, just weren't good after, you know, being shipped, then, you know, packaged to sell at the convention, and then by the time, we didn't put them away until Tuesday. So it was like a whole week and a half that they were sitting in the box, pretty much outside the show. So it wasn't ideal. So yeah, and we also ordered, last time we had a ton of different types of plants, and which was just not a smart idea because it was impossible to find things. So I chose the best selling plants that we have, and I got some of the biggest plants that we can order. So I think it'll go really good. Like one Anubis, I was told, is going to be like 8 inches tall and like 6 inches wide. So it's just going to be massive and tons of leaves. So I'm really excited for that. I hope your booth goes well. I've had an issue with contagious bacteria in some of my tanks. I'm bleaching everything before reusing it. How would you recommend for me to dip them in this solution? So you've had a contagious bacteria in some of your tanks. I'm bleaching everything before using it. How would you recommend to dip them in the solution? Well, if you're bleaching your utensils, oh, you're dipping your plants. Okay. So it depends on the plants. Not every plant can be bleach dipped. So I would probably do the research like Anacris, Vals, moss, moss balls. Anything with a bulb probably shouldn't be bleach dipped either. You can bleach dip the leaves, but don't bleach dip the bulb. I would recommend, so I've done more research on this. I haven't really tested it, but I've been told Alum dip, so that's A-L-U-M. It's essentially pickling spices. If you go to your local grocery store, those tend to work a lot better on plants than like bleach, just because you dip them for longer, so it's about 2 to 3 hours, I believe, but you don't they're very, very delicate towards the plants. So I would try that. If you had to do bleach, it's 20 parts water to 1 part bleach, or 19 parts water, 1 part bleach, whatever. Doesn't matter. 20 cups of water, 1 cup of bleach if you want to do a really simple way. Yeah, dunk the plant, or just let the plant go in there for about 30 seconds to 2 minutes, no more than 2 minutes. You take it up and you rinse. Why is she calling me? Hold on. Hello?
Thank you for choosing Marriott Hotel.
Oh, she's not calling me. What the hell's that? Marriott Hotels. I don't want any. Don't want any. So yeah, so you let them chill out for like 2 minutes. You rinse them off. Yeah, put them in dechlorinated water with like a lot of dechlor, like double the dose of dechlor. Kind of shake them off in the water. Then drain that water, re-rinse with just fresh water, and that's the way I would do it. Later, David. Matt Fish Diva wants to know if I have any Barclays after, or like Barclaya. She'd like some. I got you. I'll most likely be able to order more for the following week. Hey, Tank Tusted, what's going on? King says, love your tanks. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Wishing you the best. Thank you. What's the name of those light fixtures behind you? These are the Asta 20 lights. This is the Kessel 880. This is a Twin Star 600 series. I forget. I think it's the SE. Dan wants to know, selling anything other than plants at AE? Yeah, actually we are. So we're going to have, what are we going to have? So we're going to have plants, obviously. Oh, we are also bringing terrarium plants or immersed plants. So like the plants that you see up here growing in the back, I'm going to have some. Not all particularly what I have here, but stuff that's very similar or stuff that you could do similar ideas with. So that's going to be pretty cool. But besides plants, we're going to have tons of driftwood. I'm literally loaded up on all the driftwood we had here that's been sitting here for like the last like 2 or 3 months, because driftwood doesn't sell that often. Like we sell a couple pieces a week, and it's difficult because we don't. I mean, we could make the time, but we haven't recently just because we've been so busy with stuff. But we would have right now we sell them randomly selected. So you place the order, we select stuff that we think looks good, and we ship it out. And some people don't want to buy that, and I get it because you don't know what you're going to get. The other way to do it is take pictures of everything, but that takes a very long time and a lot of work, and I find that not a lot of people want to spend the extra money to get, well, sometimes they'll spend the extra money to get what they actually like see. So yeah, so we're bringing a ton of driftwood. We're going to have big spiderwood, and I'm bringing some really big pieces of wood that I've been having here that I once used in one of my tanks and no longer need. I just can't sell it because to ship it is like $150. So if somebody wants it, it's gonna be there. I got some big pieces, and I got the tiger wood, which is gonna be really good. And what else? We're gonna have our fertilizers. We're gonna have tools, Rapashi food, rocks, some rocks. Oh, I'm bringing 2 of these tanks, the cube tanks. I ordered 3 extras last time I ordered tanks, and I was intending to use them. I'm only going to be using 1, so I'm going to have 2 of these brand new tanks. These are 16 by 16 tanks. They're the 40Cs from UNS. So I think if anybody wants them, we'll have them. I got to look up how much I got to charge for them, but yeah, I think they'll be cool. And trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's probably it. No fish, no shrimp. B. Maddie says, thank you so much. I seriously appreciate it. Good luck at Eid. Thank you. I appreciate it. I hopefully maybe one next year you can make it out and see. Let's see. Next year, when I'm in PA, I'm definitely going to AE. Nice. You're not even that far, though. If you're in Massachusetts, you could drive down for the weekend. That's not that far. When are you going to update on the desert tank? Well, King, there's the update right now. The black bag of death. No, I mentioned earlier, I need to redo this entire tank from the ground up. Meaning I got to clean out the whole filter. I gotta take everything out. It's all gotta be kind of bleached clean because whatever the cyano was in there, very, very nasty stuff. It is not even dying from being blacked out, still managing to grow. So it's gonna be a massive undertaking that I have to do with this tank. My idea for it is something completely different, something that isn't anything like any of these tanks. My biggest problem, other than getting out there and actually cleaning out this tank at the time, which I don't have currently, I have this and my other project, which I don't want to mention because it'll just give it away. But I have an idea for let's just put it this way: it's a nano aquarium, and I saw this idea from a couple people doing this on Instagram, and I want to make a video about how to do it because so many people are like, "Oh, you can't do that! Like, it's not possible," and whatnot. So. Yeah. So yeah. Those are the two major things on top of my other videos that I have planned. It's just a matter of finding the time to do them because I haven't had much time lately. What's up, Famous Jones? How's the Shell Dwellers? They're doing pretty good. Now that the 55 is officially broken down, I now have that 4-foot stand clear, which I have a 33 long in the shed, which I haven't decided yet if I'm definitely going to use it, but I may use it on that stand and put the Shellies in there and do a brand new scape for them, but we'll see. D from Brooklyn says he's going to spend all day at AE on Friday. Nice. Definitely stop by, D. Look forward to it. I've got an AE Nano competition tank locked up, but here is my question. What plants would you use in a competition scape? Criteria scaled for small tanks, travel well, looks good immediately. Well, if you're setting up the tanks on the spot, meaning you don't have any time for it to grow in whatsoever, I would definitely go with rhizome plants, so Anubis Nano Petit. If it's a nano tank, definitely Anubis Nano Petit. I feel like you can't do a nano tank quickly and nicely without using Nano Petit. It's just such a good plant to use for it. As a matter of fact, in this tank, I actually took every bit of Nano Petit that I had that isn't stuff that we're currently selling, so everything that was in all the other tanks, and I actually laid it all out here because originally I put the Stargrass, which I showed in a recent video, but the Stargrass didn't fill in time, and it looked really, really bad. And the fact that this is going to another person's booth, I wouldn't mind it as much if it was at my booth because I could explain, like, this is the process of what happens when you put plants in and you got to let them do their thing. But the fact that this is going to somebody else's booth, I need it to look on point. So I took all the Anubis that I could find and jammed it down in here to create a nice little carpet of Anubis Nano Petit. So that's for one. The next, obviously, Boost. Boost and Anubis Nano Petit goes hand in hand. Moss works really well, especially if you can get a lot of it that's grown underwater already. So like the moss that was growing in the long tank here. See, like a lot of people use Monte Carlo for escapes, but it doesn't look good unless it's been grown in that tank because you have to allow it time to do its thing where it kind of like willows out almost. Moss balls is another good one because they're instantly, like this is the moss ball tank, and well, I have to get in here and clean it up because I've been killing them using algae fix and stuff like that. They instantly look good because they're just natural looking. You don't have to manipulate them in any way. You just kind of rip them open and plop them down and they look good. Other than that, Java ferns, if you have enough of them, can look pretty good. If you... no, I wouldn't do those either. You could do crypts. Like some decent looking crypts that have like at least like... If a crypt doesn't have more than like 4 or 5 leaves, it's not going to be looking good for a competition immediately. So you got to definitely give it time. Thanks again for the great talk at the Brooklyn Aquarium Society. I really enjoyed it. Well, thank you very much. I enjoyed it too. Hopefully I could get back there next year and do something something else maybe. Rescaping my 55 gallons. See you at the Aquatic Experience. Nice, Famous Jones. Well, Jones, if you're coming out, you'll definitely want to stop by the booth and get some big plants because these are plants that are going to be massive. So I haven't seen them yet, but I've ordered like these here and there in the past. And for the most part, they're just massive. Like, I can't even fit them in my 75. That's how big they are. So, it's going to be really cool. Look forward. People are going to literally look at them and be like, holy crap, I didn't know plants can get this big. You see, the problem is I live in the Cape, so I'm pretty far out, and also I cannot drive. Yeah, that kind of sucks. Wish I could drive up from South Texas. Should have left yesterday. Yeah, that's a bit of a drive. You could always fly out. I mean, that's always an option, right? That's unlucky, but I'm excited at the same time to see the new scapes. Yeah, the new scape that we're gonna be doing in the old desert tank, I think is gonna blow a lot of people's minds, because it's. I don't want to talk it up. Like, it's something that I saw it, like it inspired me, and now I want to put my own twist on it. But when I saw it, it blew my mind. I'm like, oh my god, that's such a good idea. I'm like, I gotta adapt this and change it and do all these things. So that's what I'm working on. Good evening, Taylor. When's the party? BYOBB. What is that? Bring your own Blackbeard algae. You're missing the A. I was trying to host a little get together for some YouTubers and friends, but when you have a newborn or a toddler, the wifey's not down for that. So dinner out with the friends it shall be. Oh, by the way, if anybody is coming to the Aquatic Experience and you're not familiar with the area, just like 10 minutes east towards New York City, Hoboken or Jersey City, best place to eat around the area. Like, you'll find the best restaurants that are New York City quality, not so much at New York City prices, still pretty high, but not as high as like if you went to New York City to eat. Like, you're talking at least $25 for dinner for like a single person. I have some waterlogged grapewood in my tank. It is breaking down and increasing pollution, which caused something black, not BBA, to grow on my plants. It is getting replaced. Black background and sand. Do you think Mopani wood be a good contrast, or should I stick to darker wood like Malaysian wood? Well, Mopani wood and Malaysian wood are both, they're going to be similar, like dark. I mean, they're only slightly shades apart. I think it would be fine. Black background and sand, that completely fine. What you do is you accent the wood with like moss and make it look really like vibrant and green, and that way it stands out. Well, I'm barely using any of your plant suggestions. I may live to regret that, but your picks are good choices. Well, best of luck tomorrow or this weekend, Alex. I hope you win. I don't know who's competing, but my money's on you. I'm curious to see what you're doing, because if you're not using any of those plants, then I fear for the best. Going to need some root tabs too. Well, we will have root tabs. I don't have a lot though. I have maybe like 20 packages that I'm bringing with me, so I'm gonna have a couple more left here. So, but we'll definitely have them. It's a little cold back here. It's getting chilly down. Do regions tend to have their own style, like West Coast versus East Coast, or do competitions tend to instruct themes? So aquascaping really isn't that prevalent here in the United States yet, as much as it is overseas. So a lot of people, I try and like create the analogy that there's two types of tanks with plants. There's a planted tank, and then there's an aquascape. Aquascapes are recreating like scenes, or they're like artwork. You're building like a piece of art. Planted tanks are, you put a bunch of plants in there and hope it looks good kind of thing. Like, this is almost just a planted tank. Like, we weren't going to recreate anything here. It was kind of like, let's just try and make it look good. This is more so a piece of scenery. This also, because it's like a cave, a bit more of a scenery as well, which you guys can't actually see the cave, but it's a cave nonetheless. And yeah, so there's like those two types of tanks. But as far as the United States go, I feel there isn't like a region difference. If anything, I would think California is more modern than the East Coast at the moment. They all go like rimless tanks, fancy sleek lighting like the Twin Stars, you know, very manicured tanks. And whatnot. And yeah, I see Dan mentions that he lives on the East Coast. It's terrible for plant to tanks. I'm in Connecticut, and not a single local fish store caters towards plants. My guess is West Coast has far more planted tank action. There are I would say it's probably about balanced. I would say the West Coast probably has maybe about 20% more stores that are dedicated to plants, but there are very few shops that cater to aquascaping. So a lot of local fish stores they'll be like, okay, people want plants, we'll order plants. They get them plants and they have no idea how to take care of them. It's kind of one of those, they get them in, let's get them out this week and we'll order more, and kind of just this burn and churn type of thing where it's just like an ongoing cycle, get them out the door. Granted, we do that too, but we know how to take care of them. We know how to identify what's happening with them. For one, we know when species come in and they're not the correct species. We've had tons of suppliers send us stuff and say, oh, this is this plant. And it's like, no, this plant is not this plant. This plant is something else because we have this plant and this plant is, what it is. So they have a lot of fish stores that just get plants in because it's in demand, but they don't cater to aquascaping. And that, I feel, is the biggest downfall right now in the Americas, or in the United States, is that we only have, I can only name maybe 10 shops that I know of that are specific to aquascaping and specific to plant care, and let's actually make something that looks really, really good instead of just shoving plants in the tank, Andrew says, hey, how are you doing today? How are you, Andrew? I'm good. I'm a little stressed, a little tired because I woke up super early this morning because the baby was crying. Got up, couldn't fall back to sleep, which kind of felt good, but now it's like I'm on that downward slope, so I'm hoping I get a second wind. I may have to get some coffee or something because I got to, we're at 9 o'clock too, so we need a couple more minutes before this ends, but yeah, I gotta work on this tank and this tank behind me and get them ready. Gotta do some water changes, all that stuff. The wood has lots of Windelove Java fern on it, and it's propagated so much it's coming out of my ears, and some of the Anubis with long pointy leaves. Nice, yeah. Windelove, Anubis, great other plants to put on wood as well. You could use those and make it look really good. King says, how is the Wabikusa going? Great. The Wabikusas are doing fantastic. We're actually probably going to be bringing one with us. Not the whole setup, but I'm going to take one because I think to see it in person and see how cool it is, I think a lot of people are going to get excited by it and really look at it and be like, wow, I did not know you could do that with it. So I think it's going to look really cool. True Westchester here. Hello, Justin. I'll be stopping by AE on Saturday with the fam. How's the parking over there, and will you be able to take credit cards for purchases? So awesome that you're stopping by with the fam. I hope your kids are definitely going to love it if you have kids. Sea Lion Show, if they're having the Sea Lion Show or whatever they tend to do. All the kid aquascaping contests, all the other stuff that happens, I think they're going to love it. Parking. So you should be all right. They have 2 parking garages, or maybe 3 parking garages. They'll usually fill up early, so if you could get there early, that'd be good. There's also other parking lots around the convention center. I just know of one underneath the convention center, essentially. That's the one that the vendors use, and I mean, I used it when I wasn't even a vendor last year. I think it's open to the public, and I was like, that's a problem. And if not, there's one across the way that you can also access. And as far as we're taking credit cards, yes. For any credit card purchases, though, we have to charge tax, and we're going to build tax into the purchase prices if anybody pays cash. So we'll see how that goes. Forget the LFS. H2O Plants has all the plants you need on the East Coast. We have all the plants you need West Coast to East Coast. What are you talking about? Connecticut kind of divided. Half the state is literally just monster fish and arowanas. The other half is super expensive New York City level shops. Lots of saltwaters and frags, though. Yeah, that's the other problem, is saltwater and monster fish are the predominant thing in the United States. even though like freshwater is a much larger hobby in general here, just a lot of people want large fish. They want discus, they want piranhas, they want arowanas, they want gar, they want all these big things. And me, I like the nanofish. I'm partial to nanofish. West Coast, Aquaforest, New York, Monster at Queens. Rather get plants from H2O. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Still never been to Monster Aquarium. Hear good things about it. New York City has a few decent shops. Yeah, there's a couple decent shops in New York City. We went to a couple of them last year. It was me, Joey, Rachel. Who else? Kevin. Yeah, I think that was it. But yeah, we went to a couple of shops. First time I ever went in them in the city itself. There was a couple decent ones. I still feel that like there's not one dedicated shop though to just aquascaping. Like you have bits and pieces here and there, some better than others, but not like that. Just screw salt water. This is all fresh water. This is all plants. Like if you're not in here for planted tanks, then you kind of don't belong here. I feel like we need one of those. But yeah, nothing against saltwater. I just feel like there's saltwater dedicated aquarium shops all over the place. We need one freshwater planted tank dedicated shop that specializes in everything. But yeah. That's right, dedicated customer here. Thanks, Madfish Diva. Appreciate it. Do you think CPOs would destroy moss? Those are isn't that self-cloning crayfish or something like that? That's a good question. I don't know. Do they eat plants? I have somebody I can ask. I don't know if he's awake right now or going to answer, but I mean, if they eat plants, I mean, the worst case scenario is they try and eat the moss and just create Mexican dwarf orange crayfish. Okay, that's what it is. The worst case scenario, they kind of try and eat it and it gets shredded up and you get little bits and pieces everywhere and then that grows out to more moss. So I don't think they'll eat it though. Maybe. I mean, they might nibble on it. Might keep it trimmed for you too. Worldwide's Coral's my closest shop. I haven't been in a little while though. I've never been there. I've been wanting to take a look at it. Yep, no aquascaping preach, yeah. I should know this about you, but have you gotten into bonsai? Not particularly. I tried to, I did order some bonsai plants. Not like the traditional bonsai tree. I ordered like dwarf pomegranate tree, which they say is really good for bonsai, and what was the other one? I want to say, was it dwarf guava tree? Might have been dwarf guava tree. So I ordered these two plants in the spring of last year. The dwarf pomegranate I traded for a different plant because I wasn't really a fan of that. And then the other ones I have, but they're not doing the best, so not really. Any luck with carnivorous plants, pitcher plants? Well, pitchers I've never, pitchers or Nepenses. So pitcher plants we sold. I still have some downstairs, but I think they're going dormant. And then Nepenses, which is they have the, like, they're a pitcher plant, kind of, but they have the, like, the little, I don't know, the little thing that hangs down from the leaf. And I haven't tried those yet. I was originally going to put some on this, but I decided against that. When are you going to get more tissue cultures in the stock? Well, we have plenty of tissue cultures. What we did is we took them off the website last night because whatever we didn't sell this past week, I want to bring to Aquatic Experience. Like, I ordered a lot to bring to the Aquatic Experience, so I gave everybody the shot this past week to order some, and now I took all of them, and we're going to be bringing them. Whatever doesn't sell will go up on the website Sunday night, most likely, and be back in stock, and then we'll order more for the next following week, pending that they have them. How long will fluval stratum lose its nutrient value because I added it to my tank? It depends. You just have to kind of look at the plant growth and see how it goes. Every substrate's going to be different based on your plant load, how often you do water changes, all that stuff. So usually about 3 to 6 months though. Famous Jones says, how do you feel about all the YouTubers coming to your region at the experience? Oh, it's going to be interesting. We're actually, our booth is right across from the YouTube booth. So like literally there's the aisle. Our booth is on one side of the aisle. The YouTube booth is on the other side of the aisle. So it'll be really cool. Tons of people there. It's going to be interesting. There's a couple people that are going to be there that I think a lot of people are going to be surprised that are going to be there. But yeah. Let's see. Does the winner... we're at the hour mark, so I'm just going to finish up the rest of the questions, and then we'll be heading off here. Does the winner of Aquascape competition get a reward? I believe... I want to say it's a cash reward. I think the team one, because they have a team one, I think that's like, I want to say it's somewhere like 500 or $1,000. I think the singles is a couple $100, and I think the kids competition is like $100 or something like that. So, or at least that's how I would run it if it was, you know, mine to do. We were gonna do an aquascaping competition this year at on our own, but it just didn't really work out. Not trying to be rude, but your beard makes me crack up. Does it? Hi, what's so funny about my beard? I found that aqua soil retains nutrition pretty well if you're using water column dosing, like clay substrates. It has decent CEC value, so it'll absorb the fertilizers. Yeah, so that's the thing. If you have like an aqua soil, whether it's fluval, ADA, or anything, you want to be using like a liquid fertilizer, like, I mean, just to plug our Vital formula, because what happens is when you put this in the water, the thing called CEC value is, think of the aqua soil as a sponge, and think of this as the water that you want to pick up with the sponge. So you take that dry sponge, you put it on the water, it absorbs all that value of the nutrients, and then the plants can utilize it. So, yes. Cool. All of my aquarium Avengers in one place. Yeah, that we will be. Best of wishes this weekend, Justin. I know you will rock it. Thank you very much, Matt Fish Diva. Nano, the prices range from $300 to $700. It barely pays for your expenses. Not a money-making venture. No, it's more notoriety. We just don't have that in the U.S. yet, where things are really big. The competition that I was trying to put together would have had about a $5,000 cash prize for the winner. We were going to do singles or doubles and, you know, whatever, but don't know what happened. So, kind of didn't work out. But there's always next year. We'll figure it out. All right, guys, I have to get to work on these. If you're not following me on Instagram, I may go live for a little bit while I'm doing these tanks. Depends on if my phone is kind of charged. So, if you're not following me there, we might be streaming. Picking up Pec Tech at the airport. Picking up Pec Tech at the airport. Picking up Mass Aquariums at his house, and then driving down tomorrow. See you there. Nice. I will see you there as well. I use liquid fertilizers too. I use Flourish and Fluval Stratum, and I also have root tabs, so to grow faster. Nice. Yeah, that's good stuff. All right, guys, I gotta get to work. If you don't follow me on Instagram, consider heading over there. I might go live, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks or at the Aquatic Experience. Make sure you come up, say hi. Don't be shy. And yeah, guys, rock out. See you later.